Alright. Uh, we have unsuccessful docking. Come on. You know you want to dock. Like, you can really feel this. Come on. Oh, we have it! Our Duna launcher complete! Hello and welcome, friends. My name is Frenzy here, bringing you more Kerbal Space Program 1.0 series, mini-series. And yeah, we are going to Duna, so that's pretty exciting as you see this ugly behemoth of a, of a rocket take off here. Pretty straightforward. You can see on the top here, nuclear engine as well as a lander there. So we have the lander and kind of our transfer stage. I'm going to be doing a little bit of orbital construction, so this is going to take up some of the episode. I know this episode, or this series rather, is kind of science focused, but I think it's important to kind of show these things, you know, how we get to Duna just as well. But I'm going to be pacing this episode, I think, pretty well from what I've kind of gone through and done a bunch of editing to make this, I think, come across pretty clearly. I have this kind of workhorse Delta 4 stock style launcher, which really has worked well. Not necessarily the most cost effective, I don't think, but pretty nice, as you see kind of booster separation there as those boosters kind of fly off there, looking pretty cool as it does that. You'll see this thing is doing well. It's able to get into orbit pretty easily, and with some room to spare on the Delta V for the most part. And we're just going to get this thing into orbit first and foremost, and then we're going to go ahead and dock this bad boy. That's really our primary goal with this thing, is to get this thing docked with its mate, and you'll see what that looks like in a little bit here. But yeah, so nothing crazy going on per se. It's just your typical lander and a transfer stage. I'm actually going to attach kind of a booster stage to the transfer stage. That nuclear engine is more going to be to get me back than it is to get me you know, to and from. It probably could with the amount of Delta V it has, but I like to err on the side of caution. I also am kind of lazy sometimes, and I like to go a little bit quicker. The nuclear engine can take some time, and so I like to make sure that we go a little bit quicker here. And so that's what we're launching up here, is kind of a push stage. So I call it the kind of the push, where we're gonna just give it a little bit of a push out, get it out of Kerbin's sphere of influence, and kind of push it towards Duna. And so this is what this thing is. You'll see there's some more science attached to the top there, because I want to maximize my scientific, I guess, workload as we kind of head off to the red planet. Not Mars, Duna in this case. So we're cruising along pretty nicely here for the most part, I would say. Getting really nicely. Getting this launcher actually worked out really well for me. I'm definitely going to be using it in the future, as you see some wonderful booster separation there. Now, that looks really cool flying back down. Hopefully it doesn't hit anything important. Doubtful, but you never know. You never know. So we're making good time here as this thing kind of begins to keel itself over as we make a good push for orbit. And so there's a lot of obstacles going to Duna. If you're unfamiliar with it, you know, maybe you're a little bit newer and you just bought this game, there's many different things you have to consider. I think it's ripe for an Apollo-style lander, where you have, you know, something that's going to be staying in orbit around the body or the planet or the moon or whatever it is you're going to be landing on, and then, you know, sending down a lander, like a separate lander, and then coming back up, redocking with that kind of transfer module. I think that's a really good way to do it for Duna. Obviously, as we in real life look to head to Mars, there's a lot bigger challenges, because you have to remember, Kerbin, I think, is 10, or Earth, I should say, is 10 times bigger, I think, or just, I shouldn't say really Earth, I should say the whole solar system, I believe, is 10 times bigger. So, you know, millions and millions more miles to travel, many more obstacles that are necessary to overcome. But KSP is pretty cool in the sense that, you know, it helps you think about these things as we begin here our docking procedure with the Duna lander that we've already set up here. Again, this is our kind of our push stage that we're going to go ahead and see if we can get this thing docked properly. Whether or not that will actually happen remains to be seen. We're not sure. We'll see how this thing goes. Docking can always be a fun experience, for sure. But everything coming in pretty clearly as we get ready to touch into this thing. Just very, very easily, very gently. We don't want to have any issues. A little bit off centered here. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can adjust. Oh, I think we have contact, and we're pushing away a little bit. Alright. We have unsuccessful docking. Come on. You know you want to dock. Like, you can really feel this. Come on. Oh, we have it! Our Duna launcher complete! Fantastic. So our Duna launcher or vehicle or whatever you want to call it is done. And what I'm going to be doing here, just kind of, I launched these up and I didn't think you guys would want to see all this and it would just take too much time. So I set up a couple of refueling vehicles because obviously this push stage is not fueled after coming up here, so we had to use a lot of that fuel just to kind of get here. But that was expected. That's why I put on these side docking nodes. If I was really adventurous, I might even potentially add a couple more to the side, but that's a little bit too much work and unnecessary for the most part. We really don't need that much Delta V. Honestly, the only reason we really need this push stage is just to make things go quicker. You know, it's not really necessary as we have a successful and easy docking this time around. Nothing that's really getting in the way here. So that's always a plus as we go ahead and get ready to transfer some fuel. And I will apologize just for not being able to get KSP career episodes out. I know this is kind of the main feature of my channel. So I've been, you know, uploading some things here and there. I got a new puppy, so that's been taking up a lot of my time. He's adorable. He is actually just chilling in the corner. I think he's the perfect YouTube/streaming dog to have because he just kind of chills out. He doesn't really let anything bother him. He doesn't really bark, so he's kind of an awesome dog. So that's been taking a lot of my time. So just a heads up on that. But I did record 2 episodes, so you'll see this one today, obviously, as we refuel this bad boy here. And you'll probably see another maybe tomorrow. We might space it out a little bit. I have a lot of games I want to record. And I'm thinking about starting another series as we see this other fuel launcher getting ready to connect here, looking pretty cool with the Kerbal in the background there. But I'm thinking of starting another series, and I'm not 100% sure yet what yet. I have some ideas, and I think I'm leaning towards Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the original. Probably next to KSP, hand in hand, one of my all-time favorite games, as we have a successful docking here, and we'll go ahead and refuel this thing too. So I'm thinking KOTOR. If you're unfamiliar with it, very story-based game. Again, probably neck and neck tied with KSP as my all-time favorite game. So I'm thinking about that. It would be a very long series. I'd like to show pretty much every part of it, kind of unedited, live as I play it. So I'm thinking about that, and you know, tell me what you guys think in the comments. If you're interested in something like that, it would be more of a story experience. You guys get to kind of see the story as well as some of the gameplay and the action. A bit of an older game, so I need to do some testing. There's some ways to upscale it, so I need to see if that would actually work for recording, because I don't want to make you watch something that's downscaled. It has kind of a black box around it. Not that cool. And we're just going ahead and get rid of these stages, or these refueling rigs here. This one I'm probably just going to smack into the ground. I'm not too worried about it, so we'll be fine with that. Yeah, so a new series, thinking about this, because this series was about to wrap up. I think maybe I can get maybe a couple more episodes. I was thinking, you know, depending on what you guys think too, maybe going to Jewel, maybe doing Lathe mission to kind of wrap things out, see if I can't fill out the tech tree. I'll probably fill out some of the tech tree between episodes too. I know this series is kind of focused on getting science, but really it was more of a showcase for what 1.0 can do in terms of, you know, the career mode for anybody who's kind of interested in that. So that'll probably be my end point. I'll probably do a little bit of Moon and Miss Science to kind of finish up some of that in between the episode, and then maybe we'll do like a Lathe, Jewel Lathe kind of run to see if we can kind of finish and round that out. So I think that'll be kind of how this series wraps up. I had aimed for it to be about 10 episodes, and I think that's what it's going to be. I said from the beginning so that I was going to do some stuff in between episodes, and I have done that. I've done some contracts to earn some money, as well as to fill in some science, and I think that's okay. I'm still waiting for a couple mods for my span the solar system. Yeah, so I already have it named. I already have a big idea for it. That'll be a little bit longer, maybe like 30-40 episodes type thing. A little bit slower paced than this, more than likely. Obviously, I do a lot of editing to get it to be this pace, but I think it's a very good pace, very natural pace. And we're going to go ahead and use the transfer window planner. By far, to me, like, I would love to see this in the core game because it is so essential. You can see I've plotted Kerbal to Duna, just kind of a typical 100 kilometer like parking radius for both, and you can see where is going to be the most optimal time to leave to actually go ahead and transfer out. If you have Kerbal alarm clock here, you can also add it to Kerbal alarm clock. So you can see here I did that, which is really freaking cool, because then you can just time warp, as I'm going to go ahead and do here, and just kind of melt away the days and get the best transfer window so I can use as little delta V as possible. So if you don't have this mod, highly recommend it. I believe that I put a mention of it in the description. I should do a mod overview of this simply because it's so useful. But yeah, so we're just kind of waiting here, killing some time as we finish that up, and we're then just minutes away from our transfer. Again, this was a pretty long bout of recording, so I'll probably end this episode when we arrive at Duna, and then the subsequent episode will be me actually kind of landing, getting there, so on and so forth. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited. This series, I think, has gone pretty well. It seems like you guys have been enjoying it from all the wonderful comments. So I appreciate that. I really appreciate the kind word, guys and gals out there. So let's not exclude anybody, because I'm all about inclusion, including everybody, because I think that's important. As we go ahead and prepare for transfer, Captain, you can see our crew there. I had to get my scientist Bob Kerman along for the ride. Valentina, our captain, our pilot. She's our leader. We will follow her to the ends of the world, and to Duna in this case. We also have, I think, Dudler, one of those. He's our second pilot. I just wanted to bring a second pilot because Valentina is our captain. She does the meaningful piloting, such as landing our craft. But it's always good to have a second pilot. I probably could have brought an engineer, would have been fine. But I actually changed the design of this. So unlike the actual Apollo missions where there's an astronaut, sitting up, waiting, orbiting the moon, they're just kind of chilling up there, kind of like the worst job ever, watching your friends go down and land on the moon, and you just kind of have to orbit the moon. But in this case, we don't really have like a some kind of a command service module waiting around in orbit with a actual guy in it. So all three of these wonderful ladies and gentlemen will be going down to the red planet, so that's pretty cool. And as you can see here, we have a wonderful little encounter with Duna. I think I'm gonna fine-tune this a little bit. I want to get this down if I possibly can. I want to get as close as we can to the planet, and then hopefully I'll be able to do some aero braking. I didn't really have a heat shield to do this. I guess plan to do this for this purpose, but I think we'll be okay. Duna's atmosphere, like Mars' atmosphere, is pretty thin. Now, obviously, thin, but you're still going really fast as you approach, through space and through the solar system. But I think we'll be okay as I'm able to slowly wind this thing down, which is 100% what we want. And we're going to go ahead and do some time warping here. Part of life. In this case, waiting for your vehicle to actually arrive. And really, this is probably the biggest issue, I would say, going to Mars, in our real world, in our real solar system, not the mod, is it's so long, it's like a 9-month journey where you're being battered by the sun's radiation, really just taking a beating. I think that's one of the biggest issues going to Mars is, and I think it's a solvable issue, but we really kind of have to take the hammer and start working those issues out. So I'm excited for the future in that regard. And one of the reasons I love KSP is because it lets you talk about this stuff. Now, I'm not the most informed, I would say, compared to some people like obviously Scott Manley and others in regards to this knowledge, but I do have a love and an interest, and so it's just kind of fun to talk about as we're just kind of going through these things. And we're able to get this pretty close. I'm kind of doing an adjustment here in my getting this hopefully down to where I'm, really getting close to Duna. Hopefully to the point where I can aero brake. as we're kind of just tinkering here, getting this down. Oh yeah, we're getting down pretty good. Oh yeah, that's nice. See if we can get this kind of around. I don't know. I think maybe like 20,000. I think. Ooh, that's not what we want. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. I would be happy with that. I think that's good. And we're going to go ahead and continue our time warping as we go ahead and approach Duna, the red planet. Not the minty flavored moon as Minmus was, but still quite red and beautiful nonetheless. The frosting topped planet, let's say, because Kerbals are all about snacks. So every planet has a designated food association with it. So we'll say it's the frosting topped planet because it does have those polar ice caps along with it, which is pretty cool. And we're coming close. We're getting close to the sphere of influence. I don't know if it was really captured, but maybe I just edited it out. But I had some issues with like approaching the sphere of influence. I don't know if this is by design to kind of slow you down so it doesn't get like a funky, kind of orbit. And you can see here, yay, we've got a nice little encounter here. We're in the sphere of influence of Duna. And by the way, as I get ready to here, I think I need to, I don't really want to be in a polar orbit because that'll just cause a lot of issues going forward in terms of, coming back to that transfer stage up in orbit. I'll have to really wait, sit and wait till I'm in a good spot to launch, if it is in a polar orbit. But points. Imaginary whose line is it anyway type points that don't count for anything, but points to anybody who will notice the mistake that I make here. So feel free to tell me in the comments what mistake I am making. You will see. Actually, there's probably a lot of mistakes, but the major mistake I think that I'm making here. I guess I really shouldn't say a mistake, but something you probably, ideally, I don't think want to do, given a choice, given kind of a option here. So we do have a nice little solid encounter here, and we're going to go ahead and approach the planet, and I think that's where we'll get ready to call this episode. So yeah, we did a lot here. We made our transfer stage, or our Duna vehicle, spacecraft, whatever you want to call it. I do need to actually get a little bit closer, though, before I get ahead of myself here. I would like to set up my aero braking, not litho braking. We don't want to do that. Yeah, so we're going to set up our aero braking, get this thing. I would like to get this thing within 20,000 meters. Again, I think would be the ideal type distance that we're looking for. That would probably have me smack into the planet. That's probably not something we'd like to do. Not ideally. I think that would be bad. So we'll see if we can fix this here. Come on. I might need to just see if I can finagle it with my RCS. There we go. And 30,000, 25,000. Maybe that's good. I think that might be good. You do have to get pretty low to aero brake in Duna. It's kind of a balance. Duna's one of the trickier aero braking planets, simply because you kind of have to balance. You do need to go low, but if you go too low, you might smack yourself into the planets, which is not what you want. But we look successful as we come close to the red planet here. Thank you guys for watching. Tap that like button if you did enjoy it. Really appreciate it always. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends as well. And finally, comment, and see you next time.